There's something magnetic yet elusive about highly intelligent people that often leaves others intrigued, yet puzzled. They don't come across as cold, but there's a certain distance, a selective engagement that feels deliberate. They're not antisocial, but their solitude seems almost strategic. What you're noticing isn't arrogance or a sense of superiority, it's something far deeper, a psychological sophistication that sets them apart. Master Shi Heng Yi, a modern master of mindfulness and martial arts, understood this phenomenon with remarkable clarity. He recognized that intelligence, especially emotional and psychological intelligence, creates a natural pull toward detachment. This isn't detachment rooted in fear or emotional wounds, but a conscious choice, a shield that protects the clarity and depth of a sharp mind. Intelligent people experience solitude differently from most. Where others see loneliness, they find clarity. Where others fear being left alone, they discover freedom. This isn't a sign of emotional deficiency, it's a profound realization that their greatest insights, their deepest growth, and their truest selves emerge not in the noise of constant social interaction, but in the deliberate quiet of chosen solitude. Master Yi spoke of this as the path to inner mastery, a journey toward becoming who you truly are, free from the expectations, projections, and emotional demands of others. For intelligent minds, this path becomes even more significant. The smarter you become, the more you see through the surface of human interactions, the performances, the unconscious needs, the projections that often masquerade as connection. This awareness creates a crossroads. You can either keep playing the social games that feel increasingly empty, or you can step back, detach, and carve out the mental space needed for authentic growth. Most people choose the former, driven by fear of isolation. The intelligent, however, choose the latter, guided by wisdom. Intelligence, particularly when it encompasses emotional and psychological awareness, carries a unique burden. You start to see patterns others overlook, the unspoken motivations behind words, the fear-based behaviors dressed up as love, the psychological needs driving most interactions. Master Yi described this as developing a kind of inner vision, the ability to not just observe what people do, but to understand why they do it. This heightened awareness can lead to a peculiar form of isolation. When you see the mechanics behind human behavior, it's as if you're watching a play while everyone else believes they're living reality. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. And clarity, while freeing, can feel profoundly isolating. Intelligent people often face a choice in conversations: engage at the surface level others find comfortable or share their deeper truths and risk others pulling away. Most opt for the surface, but this comes at a cost. Constantly simplifying complex thoughts into digestible pieces is exhausting. The need to dumb down insights to maintain social harmony creates an internal divide. You start living a double life, your authentic self versus the socially acceptable version. This realization leads to a powerful truth: much of what we call connection is actually projection. People aren't truly seeing you, they're seeing what they need you to be. They're not loving your authentic self, they're loving their idea of you. Once you grasp this, the urge to maintain shallow connections weakens. Master Yi emphasized that intelligent minds naturally gravitate toward fewer, deeper relationships rather than many superficial ones. Quality over quantity becomes not just a preference, but a necessity. The detachment of intelligent people is often a shield against the energy drain of relationships that lack genuine understanding or reciprocity. There's a unique exhaustion that comes with being intelligent in a world that often values conformity over critical thinking. You observe people making decisions driven by emotion rather than logic, chasing trends instead of principles, seeking validation over truth. The cognitive dissonance can be overwhelming. The intelligent mind carries a quiet burden, one that Master Shi Heng Yi illuminated through his teachings on mindfulness and inner balance. He recognized that those with heightened awareness often step outside the collective patterns that shape most human behavior. This ability to see beyond the surface creates what can be called cognitive isolation, a state where your thoughts and perspectives diverge from those around you. It's not about being better or above others, it's about perceiving the world through a lens that others rarely access. Intelligent people often find themselves mentally translating every interaction. Whether it's a casual conversation, a political debate, or a social gathering, they're processing multiple layers at once. They see the psychological dynamics at play, the logical inconsistencies in arguments, the historical parallels, and the unconscious biases shaping opinions. Master Yi likened this to observing the flow of a river, not just its surface ripples, but the currents and depths beneath. This multi-layered awareness makes it challenging to engage in the straightforward, surface-level interactions that most social settings demand. The result is a kind of internal exile. You're physically present, but your mind feels distant. You participate in conversations, but you're analyzing rather than fully immersing. You listen, but your thoughts are tracing patterns and implications others miss. This isn't a choice, it's the natural rhythm of a mind that can't switch off its analytical depth. For intelligent individuals, this creates a unique form of loneliness, not from physical solitude, but from being mentally alone in a crowd. This loneliness stems from seeing connections others overlook, understanding consequences others ignore, and grappling with complexities others simplify. Master Yi taught that this clarity, while a gift, demands resilience. The intelligent person's detachment becomes a shield against the friction of operating at a different intellectual frequency than those around them. By creating distance, they preserve their mental clarity and avoid the constant strain of aligning with a world that often moves at a different pace. Intelligence also brings an acute awareness of emotional economics, the understanding that your emotional energy is a finite resource, to be invested with care. Master Yi emphasized that true mindfulness includes knowing where to direct your inner resources. Unlike those who spread their emotional attention across countless surface relationships, intelligent people become selective. They ask themselves, will this connection foster growth or drain my energy? Will this interaction deepen my understanding or simply repeat familiar patterns? This isn't cold calculation, it's emotional intelligence applied to relationships. Intelligent individuals recognize that their capacity for deep, meaningful connection is limited, not by a lack of heart, but by the intensity with which they process emotions and ideas. They'd rather nurture one profound bond than maintain 10 shallow ones. To others, this selectivity can appear as detachment, even aloofness. Society often expects constant emotional availability, predictable social engagement, and quick responses to every cue. When intelligent people don't meet these expectations, not because they can't, but because they choose not to, they're often misjudged as distant or unapproachable. The truth is more layered. Intelligent individuals have honed the ability to distinguish between emotional reactions and thoughtful responses. They observe their feelings without being swept away by them, engaging when it aligns with their purpose and withdrawing when it doesn't. Master Yi described this as emotional sovereignty, a form of inner mastery that allows you to navigate relationships with intention. This sovereignty looks like detachment to the outside world, but it's actually a deliberate act of preserving energy for what truly matters. This detachment serves a vital purpose. It safeguards the mental space needed for deep thinking, protects against the turbulence of others' emotional dramas, and ensures that emotional resources are invested in pursuits that align with one's authentic self. For the intelligent, detachment isn't about shutting others out, it's about staying true to their inner clarity in a world that often pulls them toward chaos. Master Shi Heng Yi, through his teachings on mindfulness and inner discipline, illuminated a truth that resonates deeply with intelligent minds: solitude is not a void to be feared, but a sanctuary to be embraced. While many equate being alone with loneliness, intelligent individuals see it as a gateway to clarity and self-discovery. This perspective isn't born from a rejection of others, but from a profound understanding of what solitude offers, a space where the mind can breathe, unburdened by the demands of social performance. For the intelligent, solitude is not an absence, but a presence. It's not about being isolated from others, but about being fully present with oneself. Master Yi taught that in the stillness of solitude, the mind can operate at its natural rhythm, free from the need to adjust or simplify for others. This is where the deepest insights take root, where creative ideas blossom, and where philosophical understanding deepens. The detachment that intelligent people practice creates the space for what Master Yi might call inner alignment, a state where thoughts, emotions, and values come into harmony. This alignment is why intelligent individuals often seem comfortable with extended periods of solitude. They can spend days or even weeks with minimal social contact, not because they're deprived, but because they find richness in their own company. Far from feeling empty, these periods often lead to bursts of clarity, creativity, and psychological integration. Master Yi's teaching suggests that this comfort with solitude stems from a disciplined mind, one that has learned to find balance within itself rather than seeking it through external validation. The detachment of intelligent people is often misunderstood as aloofness or disinterest, but it's a deliberate choice to prioritize depth over distraction. In solitude, they escape the constant need to translate their complex thoughts into socially acceptable forms. They avoid the energy drain of navigating relationships that demand conformity over authenticity. This isn't about rejecting connection, it's about protecting the mental and emotional resources needed for meaningful growth. Master Yi emphasized that true connection begins with the self. By detaching from the noise of external expectations, intelligent individuals forge a stronger bond with their authentic thoughts, feelings, and values. This internal connection becomes the foundation for any relationships they choose to nurture. Unlike those who form bonds to escape their inner world, intelligent people often step back from relationships to better understand themselves. This fundamental difference creates a natural divide between how they approach connection and how others do. To the outside world, this preference for solitude can seem like rejection. But it's not about pushing others away, it's about prioritizing quality over quantity, depth over breadth, authenticity over accommodation. Intelligent individuals understand that their emotional and mental energy is finite, and they guard it carefully. Every interaction is weighed. Does this align with my purpose? Does it enrich my understanding? If the answer is no, they're more likely to withdraw, not out of coldness, but out of respect for their own inner balance. This selective approach often leads to fewer but more meaningful relationships. Intelligent people seek connections that resonate with their true selves, relationships built on mutual understanding and reciprocity rather than obligation or projection. Master Yi's teachings remind us that this selectivity is a form of wisdom, a recognition that not every interaction deserves your energy. By choosing solitude when needed, intelligent individuals create the space to cultivate insights and clarity that ultimately make their connections with others more genuine and impactful. The solitude advantage, as Master Yi might describe it, is why intelligent people often emerge from periods of isolation with renewed perspective and creativity. It's in these moments of quiet that they confront their inner world, wrestle with complex ideas, and discover truths that can't surface in the chaos of constant social engagement. Far from being a retreat from life, this solitude is a deeper engagement with it, a commitment to living authentically in a world that often pulls toward the superficial. Master Shi Heng Yi, through his teachings on mindfulness and inner strength, revealed a profound truth about the intelligent mind: solitude is not just a refuge, but a crucible for transformation. For those with heightened awareness, stepping away from the clamor of social expectations isn't a retreat, it's a deliberate act of self-preservation and growth. This chosen solitude allows the intelligent to connect with what Master Yi might call the inner sanctuary, a space where the mind can explore its depths without the distortion of external demands. In this sanctuary, the intelligent mind finds freedom to engage with ideas and possibilities that only emerge in stillness. Master Yi's philosophy emphasizes that true clarity comes when the mind is unburdened by the need to perform or conform. For intelligent individuals, this means detaching from the constant social dance of adjusting their thoughts to fit others' expectations. In solitude, they can explore complex ideas, wrestle with philosophical questions, and uncover insights that remain hidden in the noise of everyday interactions. This process mirrors what Master Yi described as cultivating inner balance, a practice of aligning one's thoughts, emotions, and actions with their authentic self. Intelligent people often discover that their most profound moments of growth occur not in crowded rooms, but in the quiet of their own company. This isn't about rejecting others, it's about honoring the need for mental space to process the world's complexities. The detachment they practice is a shield against the exhaustion of navigating relationships that demand surface-level engagement over genuine connection. To those on the outside, this preference for solitude can seem like aloofness or disinterest. Society often expects constant availability, predictable responses, and emotional openness, but intelligent individuals operate differently. They've learned to prioritize their mental and emotional energy, investing it in pursuits and relationships that align with their deeper purpose. Master Yi taught that this selectivity is a form of discipline, a way of ensuring that every interaction serves growth rather than distraction. This discipline extends to how intelligent people manage their relationships. They seek connections that are rooted in mutual understanding, where both parties can engage authentically without the need for pretense. This often means fewer relationships, but ones that carry greater depth and meaning. Master Yi's teaching suggests that this approach is not about isolation, but about integration, building a life where external connections reflect the clarity and authenticity cultivated within. The paradox is striking. By detaching from others, intelligent individuals often become more connected to themselves. They gain a clearer sense of their values, desires, and purpose, which in turn allows them to form relationships that are truly meaningful. This internal clarity is what sets them apart. While many form bonds to avoid confronting their inner world, intelligent people embrace solitude to explore it, emerging with a stronger sense of self that informs every interaction. Master Yi's wisdom highlights that this solitude is not a withdrawal from life, but a deeper engagement with it. Intelligent individuals understand that their mental and emotional resources are finite, and they choose to invest them wisely. They ask, does this relationship challenge me to grow? Does this conversation deepen my understanding? If the answer is no, they step back, not out of arrogance, but out of a commitment to living authentically. This commitment often leads to periods of isolation that others might find unsettling. Yet for the intelligent, these moments are not lonely, they're liberating. In solitude, they find the space to confront their inner world, to question their assumptions, and to refine their understanding of life. Master Yi might describe this as a form of inner martial arts, a disciplined practice of facing oneself with courage and clarity. Far from being a flaw, this detachment is a strength, a necessary adaptation for navigating a world that often prioritizes conformity over truth. Master Shi Heng Yi, a master of mindfulness and martial arts, understood that the detachment of intelligent minds is not a flaw, but a disciplined practice, a form of psychological mastery that allows them to navigate life with clarity and purpose. This detachment is not about shutting others out or retreating from connection. It's a strategic choice to protect their mental and emotional energy, to preserve the space needed for deep thinking, and to shield themselves from the turbulence of inauthentic relationships. For the intelligent, detachment is a way of honoring their inner rhythm in a world that often demands conformity. This disciplined detachment serves multiple purposes. It conserves energy for pursuits that align with their authentic self, whether that's creative work, philosophical exploration, or personal growth. It maintains the mental clarity necessary for processing complex ideas without the clutter of external expectations. And it protects against the emotional drain of engaging in interactions that lack depth or reciprocity. Master Yi's teachings emphasize that this selectivity is not coldness, but wisdom, a recognition that emotional resources are finite and must be invested with intention. Intelligent individuals approach relationships with a kind of emotional economics, a concept Master Yi might describe as mindful allocation of inner strength. They understand that their capacity for deep connection is limited, not by a lack of care, but by the intensity with which they experience and process the world. Every interaction is weighed. Does this relationship nurture my growth? Does this conversation challenge my perspective? If the answer falls short, they withdraw, not out of disdain, but out of respect for their own mental well-being. This approach often leads to misunderstandings. Society expects consistent emotional availability and predictable social engagement, but intelligent people operate on a different frequency. They've developed the ability to observe their emotions without being ruled by them, to engage when it serves a purpose and step back when it doesn't. Master Yi might call this emotional sovereignty, a state of inner balance where you respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. To others, this can appear as aloofness or arrogance, but it's actually a form of self-mastery, a deliberate choice to live authentically. The solitude that intelligent people embrace is not about escaping life, but about engaging with it more deeply. Master Yi taught that true strength comes from knowing yourself, and this self-knowledge often requires periods of withdrawal from the collective noise. In these moments of solitude, intelligent individuals confront their inner world, refine their values, and cultivate insights that can't emerge in the chaos of constant social interaction. This process is what allows them to return to the world with greater clarity and purpose. For those who embody this pattern, the challenge is not about becoming more social, but about honoring their natural need for solitude while remaining open to connections that truly matter. Master Yi's philosophy suggests that this balance is a lifelong practice, one that requires courage and discipline. Intelligent people understand that not every relationship or interaction deserves their energy, and they choose to invest in those that align with their deeper purpose. For those trying to understand someone who practices this detachment, it's crucial to recognize that it's not personal. It's not a rejection of you, but a reflection of their psychological architecture, a structure built to sustain their mental clarity and emotional depth. Master Yi's teachings remind us that this detachment is a form of integration, a way of becoming fully oneself before attempting to connect with others. By creating space for solitude, intelligent individuals cultivate a richer inner world, which in turn allows them to form connections that are authentic, meaningful, and grounded in mutual understanding. This disciplined approach to detachment is not a barrier to connection, it's the foundation for relationships that truly endure. Master Shi Heng Yi, through his profound teachings on mindfulness and inner mastery, offered a timeless insight: the detachment of intelligent minds is not a withdrawal from life, but a deeper engagement with it. This detachment, often mistaken for isolation, is actually a form of integration, a necessary step on the path to becoming fully oneself. For intelligent individuals, creating space through solitude is not about rejecting others, but about cultivating an authentic self that can form genuine connections with the world. This journey, which Master Yi might describe as the pursuit of inner balance, requires courage to step away from collective patterns and societal expectations. Intelligent people understand that true connection begins with self-awareness, and self-awareness often demands periods of solitude. In these moments of quiet, they confront their inner complexities, refine their understanding of their values, and discover insights that anchor them in authenticity. This process allows them to return to relationships with a clarity that fosters deeper, more meaningful bonds. Master Yi's philosophy highlights that the intelligent mind's detachment is a natural adaptation to the challenges of living with heightened awareness. In a world that often operates on surface-level interactions, intelligent individuals face the constant friction of navigating different intellectual and emotional frequencies. By choosing solitude when needed, they protect their mental clarity and preserve their energy for connections that resonate with their true selves. This isn't about building walls, it's about creating space for relationships that are built on mutual understanding rather than projection or obligation. The solitude advantage, as Master Yi might frame it, is evident in the way intelligent people emerge from periods of isolation with renewed perspective. Whether it's a burst of creativity, a philosophical breakthrough, or a deeper sense of purpose, these moments of solitude yield treasures that enrich both their inner world and their interactions with others. Far from being a flaw, this ability to thrive in solitude is a strength, a testament to their capacity to find meaning within themselves rather than relying on external validation. For those who embody this pattern, the key is not to force themselves into constant social engagement, but to honor their need for solitude while staying open to connections that align with their depth. Master Yi taught that living authentically requires balancing inner and outer worlds, knowing when to withdraw and when to engage. For intelligent individuals, this balance is a lifelong practice, one that allows them to navigate a world that often misunderstands their detachment. For those seeking to understand someone with this disposition, Master Yi's wisdom offers a vital perspective: their detachment is not personal. It's not a rejection or a judgment, but a reflection of their psychological needs, a structure that supports their mental and emotional well-being. Recognizing this opens the door to more authentic relationships, where both parties can engage without the pressure of unspoken expectations. Master Yi's insight remains profound. The journey toward inner mastery often requires stepping away from the collective to discover who you truly are. For intelligent minds, detachment is not isolation, it's the space needed to integrate their complex inner world. By honoring this need, they create the foundation for connections that are not only genuine but transformative. These connections, though fewer in number, carry a depth that reflects the clarity and authenticity cultivated in solitude. Ultimately, the intelligent person's detachment is a gift, both to themselves and to those fortunate enough to share in their world. It's a reminder that true connection is not about quantity, but quality, not about filling the silence, but about finding meaning within it. Master Yi's teachings invite us all to consider how a little more solitude might lead us not further apart, but closer to the truth of who we are and who we can become together.